This is the best idea for a video I've ever had. Today's topic, well, it's gonna be meat-tastic. Make no mistake, it'll be awesome. We are doing a steakhouse throwdown around the most popular steakhouses in Walt Disney World to find which is the king of meat. The newest steakhouse in Walt Disney World, Steakhouse 71, located on the first floor of Disney's Contemporary Resort. This restaurant used to be the Wave, and it was completely renovated for Disney's 50th, and it's an homage to the way that Disney was when it opened in the 70s. So you're gonna see lots of awesome pictures of original Imagineers throughout the restaurant. You're gonna see pictures of Walt and Roy designing Walt Disney World. It's a really, really cool restaurant. And they even have some things on the menu that are from the 1971 menu when the Contemporary opened. So I love Steakhouse 71. It was actually a surprise. One of my favorite things about the 50th was the renovation of this restaurant. But let's see how their filet stacks up to the others on our list. We are here at Steakhouse 71 for lunch today, and if you take a look at their lunch menu, they've got some great options. The burger, best burger on Disney property in my opinion, a couple of other items, but you'll notice the steak's no longer listed. It was on the menu when the restaurant first opened, but they have removed the filet, and now it's a kind of you have to know upon request. So I did order the filet, but you can get the taking a look at the steakhouse cuts. It's on the dinner menu. They do the medallions, they do the filet, a strip, a sirloin, a bone-in chop, and a prime rib. So they have a bunch of steaks. I guess the pork obviously isn't, steak. But this is the 6-ounce filet mignon upon special request at lunchtime. So I asked for it medium rare. You also get one side. They don't have all of the dinner sides available. My favorite was the au gratin potatoes. Those aren't available at lunch because they don't start making them till later in the day, but I did get the mac and cheese. You can also get one of the sauces. They do have that sauce flight at dinner with multiple sauces. This is their signature Steakhouse 71 sauce. So they make this special just for this restaurant. And then of course there's miSTEAK. All right, got my yummy looking pieces of filet. I'm gonna eat one bite sans sauce first. It was perfectly cooked. It is so moist. Even on its own, with just the rub that they put on it, it is fabulous. $36 filet, which is not much in Disney World. Gonna get a little of that signature steakhouse sauce. Their sauce is really good here. And if you do come at dinner, I highly recommend. Any of the steaks come with one sauce, but you can upgrade for a few dollars to the sauce light where you get all 7. Highly recommend that. Go on a sauce journey, figure out which one's your favorite. I do like the steakhouse sauce. I like the truffle sauce. I also loved the red wine sauce. Those are some of my favorites, but you can't go wrong with any of the sauces. But this steak is incredibly cooked. It's perfectly cooked, seared on the outside, nice and moist and delicious. I think for $36, you're not going to find a better piece of meat. Walt Disney World, feels like every time I eat here, I'm like, how is this not a signature restaurant? But I'm not going to complain about the prices and the quality of the food. And even though this is a steak throwdown, we're obviously going to eat mac and cheese on camera. This is actually, I was surprised when the mac and cheese came out because on the first day, it was just plain mac and cheese inside the restaurant, and out of the lounge, they had the bacon jalapeno mac and cheese. But now, the bacon jalapeno mac and cheese is here inside the restaurant. So they have a fabulous lounge here. If you don't have time to commit to a full meal, you can go to the lounge. You can order some things off the lounge bites. They've got peanut butter and jelly wings. You can do the burger out there, which I love the burger here. You can do this mac and cheese as well. I'm so glad they moved this mac and cheese inside. It was far superior to the mac and cheese they had before. This has got a little bit of smokiness from the bacon, a little bit of heat from the jalapeno, really creamy, nice crumbly breadcrumbs on top. This is really good mac and cheese as well. So I don't want to call it early, but Steakhouse 71 might be the winner in this throwdown. Steakhouse 71 has yet to disappoint. I've been several times, and every time it's a fabulous experience. The servers are great, and the food is top notch. I'm not kidding when I say that burger might just be one of my all-time favorite things on Disney property at this point, and the steak really was great. I know $36 is a little more expensive than some other table service restaurants that aren't signature, but it was also a filet, so it's a little bit nicer quality of cut of meat, so it's going to be a little bit higher. But normally you can get a table service steak at most Disney restaurants for around $28 to $35 or somewhere in that range. So I really like Steakhouse 71. I think the food is great. I love that vintage atmosphere with all the old pictures. And I just think this is an excellent, excellent restaurant, especially considering it's walking distance from the Magic Kingdom. So in my opinion, this is a fabulous place to take your midday break. Come have a delicious lunch, get yourself a steak, and then head back when after you've cooled off and relaxed a little bit. The next spot on our list, this is our first signature restaurant that we'll be headed to, Yachtsman Steakhouse inside Disney's Yacht Club. So again, this is a signature restaurant, so it's going to be more expensive, but there are also going to be some incredible steaks. This is a fan favorite. A lot of people highly review this restaurant and say it's the best steak they've ever had. So I'm really excited to get a fresh cut of meat, some sides, delicious food. Let's get to it. I want to point out the dress code they have posted outside of the Yachtsman. So they do request business casual, no tank, swimsuits, cover-ups, hats, cutoffs, or torn clothing. When they're eating in the parks at a signature restaurant like Cellier, or like when some of the character meals, they obviously can enforce like t-shirts and having to look a little bit nicer. But I do want to point out that when you're eating inside the signature restaurants at the hotels, it is expected that you will have a little bit nicer of apparel. So keep that in mind when you're planning your day. Meat warning in 3, 2, 1. If you don't want to see someone preparing steak, look away. If you do want to see someone preparing steak, they have this window right here where you can see one of the chefs butchering meat. Sometimes you can see meat curing, you can see meat hanging. And I just like when they have active kitchens and places like this, you can see him weighing out steaks right now, which is really fun. Being at the Yacht Club and being called Yachtsman Steakhouse, you're certainly going to see nautical touches throughout the restaurant, but it's a pretty classic looking steakhouse. Lots of wood finishes and darker structures. But I love, 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 my favorite part is probably this open kitchen that you walk by when you first come in. I love watching chefs at work, and I love this with the little sailboats on it. Taking a look at the steaks here at Yachtsman, they do have a dry-aged porterhouse for 2. They also have a seafood tower for 2, and in looking at the butcher's cuts, they've got an 8-ounce filet for $54. They've got a prime rib, a New York strip, a ribeye. When you order one of those, you do get one of these things. You can choose from the variety of potatoes. You can upgrade the French fries to truffle fries for a few dollars, or green beans. You can also enhance any of them with some crab and lobster. They've also got a variety of land and sea offerings, and then there are all of these sides down at the bottom. These are shareable sides, but those are purchased a la carte, so you can do things like mac and cheese, asparagus, mushrooms, etc. You do get some bread when you visit the Yachtsman Steakhouse. Definitely a signature restaurant experience. They have an onion roll as well as their signature cherry sourdough multigrain. That's what that darker one is. And then it comes with salted butter as well as roasted garlic, which is very fancy. I'm trying not to let the bread sway my decision because this is all about the steak, but technically it's included. So I put some of the roasted garlic and the butter on the onion roll. That's some good bread. I love garlic. I would put on anything. And the fact that they just give you a big head of roasted garlic is very nice. Here it is. This is why we're here. This is the 8-ounce filet mignon. It comes with cognac truffle butter on top, and it looks and smells unbelievable. I also, for my side, I picked the potatoes au gratin, which come in their own little casserole skillet dish here. It's like a nice cheesy potato dish. Yum. Yum, yum. This looks amazing. I got it cut medium rare, so let's cut open and look at it. Look at that. Oh my gosh, that is perfect. I'm so sorry if you're not a meat eater. You're probably not watching this video anyway because it is not going to be helpful to you. But that looks incredible. My grandfather is a farmer in Iowa, and he told me medium rare. Oh, always medium rare, so I always go medium rare, and this looks chef's kiss. This is my steak dance. When deciding what we were going to do with 3-ounce bar, I was like, should we do steak? Would that be helpful? Oh my god. It is so good. I need a minute. It's definitely a delicious steak. It's rare, medium rare. Like it's almost rare, but you can tell it's a high quality piece of meat. The char on the outside is absolutely perfect. I know they do wood fire here. You can get a little bit of that smokiness in the meat. I mean, it is just simple. Like that cognac truffle butter, I'm getting a hit of the truffle, but mostly I just taste that really buttery, high quality meat. This is your no frill steakhouse. This is like Ron Swanson would eat here. He would drink an old fashioned and he would eat a steak here because it is not over the top. It is just a good piece of meat cooked very, very well. So if that's what you're into, this is a great spot. I'm gonna try these cheesy potatoes now, because as you probably know, I love cheese and also potatoes. Those are excellent. You can definitely taste the leek that's in there. It's nice, creamy. It's not over the top like strong cheese. Like there's not a strong sharp cheddar or a strong Gouda or anything. It's just a nice, creamy, mild cheese along with those perfectly cooked potatoes. They have a little bit of, not crunch, but a little bit of texture left to them because of how they're cooked, thinly sliced, layered. I love potatoes au gratin. I will say, though, the potatoes au gratin at Steakhouse 71 I think is better. I wasn't able to get it because I ordered that filet at lunch for this video, but you can get it at dinner there, and I do think it's slightly better. However, I think this is probably your best side when you're coming here to Yachtsman of the sides that are available to come with your steak included. Just wrapped up dinner at the Yacht Club. This is a Disney staple. It's been around for over 30 years, and I can certainly see why. The service is always excellent, and the food is really good. Like I said, this is your no-frill steakhouse. This is like your Ron Swanson steakhouse. There's not a lot of Disney decor. There's actually nothing really Disney in there. It just feels like an upscale steakhouse, which is exactly what it is. Is it a winner though? For me, I don't know if this steak was worth almost $20 more than the steak at Steakhouse 71. I thought the potatoes were great. The bread, I could eat so many of those onion rolls with the roasted garlic on it. But overall, I don't know if it was that much better of a steak. And it was a very good steak, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't anything that special. Sometimes when I go out to eat at Disney World, since I'm going to be paying Disney World prices, I want it to be something more unique that I can't get anywhere else. That said, it was an excellent steak. Again, the service was very, very good. It's always top drawer. If you are a classic steakhouse fan and you're looking for just kind of a classic, even keel steakhouse that's going to be quality time and time again, that's where the Yachtsman comes into play. The next steakhouse we're visiting is one of the most popular and hardest to get reservations in Walt Disney World, Cellier Steakhouse. This is a tiny restaurant, hence why it's so hard to get a reservation, located in the Canada Pavilion. It's also a signature restaurant, meaning signature prices, and they're known for delicious filet mignon, as well as their signature bread, as well as a few other items. A lot of you love this restaurant. It's a classic for a lot of people coming to Epcot, but some people say in recent years it's become overrated and not as good as it used to be. But this is the steak throwdown, so let's go get that signature filet. Taking a look at the menu here at Cellier, they're certainly most well known for their Canadian cheddar cheese soup, and if you do visit here, especially for your first time, I insist you try that. But we're talking about steak today. Taking a look at their entrees, we're looking in the same price range, a little bit more perhaps, depending what kind of cut you get than Yachtsman. They have a ribeye for $57. They have a strip steak for $52. Their signature filet mignon, it's a AAA Canadian tenderloin, mushroom risotto, asparagus, truffle butter sauce. Spoiler alert, that's what we're about to eat right now. And then, of course, like any other restaurant, they've got a few non-steak options. They do have a couple of enhancements if you'd like to add those. These are shareable. I love these maple whiskey glazed Brussels sprouts, and the Boursin mashed potatoes are one of my favorite as well. Another thing, not steak on the menu, but I can recommend if you're not looking for something quite as heavy as a big cut of steak, or you want something to share on the table, are their poutines. They have a few different ones. Both are incredible. And then, of course, they've got a nice dessert spread. The bread at Cellier is also not to be missed. It's one of my favorite parts of dining here. They give you 3 different types of bread, a multi-grain, a pretzel bread, and a sourdough, as well as a little maple salted butter, and it's to represent 3 different regions of Canada. The pretzel is to represent Ontario, which hosts the second largest Oktoberfest outside of Germany. The multi-grain is to represent the fact that 3 of the Canadian provinces produce 50% of all the grain in North America, and the sourdough is from the Yukon near Alaska. They have only 3 hours of daylight in winter, so they host a big sourdough festival every spring to welcome back the light. So the bread here is one of my favorite things. But we are all about the meat on this one, so we're going to look at that filet here in a few minutes. Here she is in all of her glory. This is, again, the Cellier filet mignon. It's a AAA Canadian tenderloin. As for medium rare mushroom risotto and asparagus tomato relish, and it's got this truffle butter sauce on it. It smells so phenomenal. This is their signature steak right here. And then I couldn't resist also trying a potato. I feel like I gotta try a good amount of carbs at every location for science, obviously. And these are their loaded boursin mashed potatoes. So boursin is that like creamy herb cheese, and then it's got that in there as well as some cheddar on top and some bacon. So that looks amazing as well. So that's an enhancement. That was $10, and the steak itself is $59. So the most expensive filet we've had thus far. It is like butter. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This is hands down the best piece of meat that I've had in this video thus far. It's cooked perfectly. It is like butter. It is perfectly medium rare. It's got a nice char on it, nice like steak flavor in of itself without needing any of the other stuff. But now I'm going to dip in the risotto and the butter and just really get into it. The risotto is so good. Absolute perfection. This is a steak. If you're not a risotto fan, you can swap it out for something else, but I recommend the risotto. It is creamy and perfectly delicious. But that steak itself has this perfect, nice char on the crust, a little bit of salt, simple flavors you can taste. It's really letting the meat shine, and you can tell this is a big, nice, quality piece of meat. Like I said, it's melting in your mouth, butter, perfectly cooked. I have no complaints about this steak at all. Trying the potatoes as well.
But like, I feel like even when you were 17, you were so growing, so good.
They're so creamy and flavorful. There's a nice like toasted cheddar on top, which adds a little bit of a crunch, plus the bacon. I also like that they put the potato skin on the top. Those are solid mashed potatoes. As much as I like the risotto, and I like to do what the chef recommends, which is the risotto with the filet, if you're not a risotto fan or you want these potatoes, I maybe ask if they can swap the potatoes for the risotto when you get the filet, because I like the potatoes better, but I'm a potato fan. Oh, they're so good. Or just get them on the side. Just finished up my meal at Cellier in Canada, and it was excellent as always. I know that some of you have left reviews that this isn't as good as it used to be, but I luckily have never had a bad experience at Cellier. The food is always phenomenal and cooked perfectly. I would say of the steaks I've eaten so far, this one, the steak itself, has been my favorite. It's just cooked so well. It was perfectly medium rare, whereas the steak I had at Yachtsman was a little bit undercooked for my liking, but this steak was like buttery, delicious, melt in your mouth, incredible piece of meat. Loved that risotto. I would say I liked the potatoes that I got on the side more than the risotto, so if you come here and you're a potato fan, you may want to ask for that, but you're not going to be disappointed by that signature risotto either way. What I will say about Cellier is, just like most of the places on our list, it's very, very expensive. That was almost a $60 steak. When you're in Epcot, you may want to eat around a little bit more. You may not want to sit and have a long meal inside the dark area that is Cellier. But if you're looking for a good steak, like I said, I've never been disappointed by this one. Just arrived at our fourth and final steakhouse of the video, Shulas Steakhouse, located in the Dolphin Resort. Now, the Walt Disney World Swan and the Walt Disney World Dolphin are not Disney owned and operated. However, they are on property in the Epcot Resorts area, and they maintain a lot of the perks that Disney World Resort would have, such as access to the extra magic hours, access to the same perks when it comes to booking Genie Plus, transportation, walking distance to some of the parks. So Shula's is a fabulous steakhouse. It's going to be signature level prices, so similar prices to Yachtsman and to Cellier, and I'm excited to go check it out. I've actually never eaten here, so let's go see where this one sits. The Swan and Dolphin actually have a lot of fabulous restaurants, and they're usually easier to get into than the Disney owned and operated ones, so something to consider if you are looking for somewhere to go, especially if you are not as much of a Disney fan. You don't want a lot of theming over the top like you might find at some Disney restaurants. The Swan and Dolphin is perfect for that. Also, keep in mind that it is not free to park at the Swan and Dolphin. However, they will validate your parking if you dine at one of the restaurants, so make sure to have your ticket from the parking team and get it validated before you leave the restaurant. bread served here at Shula's as well. This is a fresh baked sourdough roll. He said hot right out of the oven when it was served. A little bit of salted butter. Looks and smells amazing. One of the most fun things I'm enjoying about Shula's is that every table has this knife block on it, and you get to pick your own steak knife. I'm gonna go for this, like, ooh, this is a pretty one. Look how fun this is. You could, like, pick out your steak knife. I went for this marbled. No, we're going, that one's pretty, but look at this bomb one. This is, like, I feel powerful holding this, like an Avenger. I'm gonna do the Bucky Barnes, like, knife flip. I'm not, because that would be insane, but fun little touch. Simple sourdough, fresh bread, soft. Not as exciting as the bread at Yachtsman or Cellier, but wow, was it good. Say hello to this fabulous looking steak. This is the 10-ounce filet. It's $65. I ordered a medium rare. This one comes with a béarnaise sauce. I also got two of the sides. Their sides, nothing comes with the steak here. You do order the sides to order, and I grabbed two things. They are made to share, but I went ahead and tried the macaroni and cheese because, again, we are in a carb quest, which is your cavatappi pasta, Gouda, cheddar, and breadcrumbs. And then I think I need to eat a vegetable. So I also got the fresh asparagus spears grilled with a little bit of lemon, and I love asparagus, one of my favorite vegetables, especially to steakhouse. It just goes so well together, so I'm excited to dig into this fabulous looking meal. This is the best idea for a video I've ever had. Very well done. Well, not well done. It's a filet that's medium rare. Very well executed steak. Nice char on the outside. This is definitely the simplest, I would say, of the steaks I've had. I haven't put the béarnaise sauce on it yet, but it is just straight up a delicious piece of meat that was grilled. Lots of good flavor coming from the meat itself. I'm gonna try the béarnaise sauce now. Nice creamy egg sauce. My one complaint about the filet was that it was a little bit drier, even though it's clearly medium rare. It wasn't as buttery meat as I had at some of the other places. But that béarnaise sauce is phenomenal. Nice creamy flavor, not overwhelming. This again is a nice, similar to Yachtsman, just a simple, straightforward steakhouse. Excited to try some of these sides as well. We're going to start with the mac and cheese. You can see how creamy and delicious that is. That is nice and creamy. That's phenomenal mac and cheese. Very simple. It does have a little bit of smokiness from the Gouda, but then it's mostly just that creamy cheddar. A little bit of hint of a crunch from the breadcrumbs on top. They use the cavatappi, the curly pasta, which I think is the best for mac and cheese. That is excellent mac. Now let's try an asparagus as well. Grilled, simple deliciousness. A little bit of acidity coming from the lemon. Perfectly grilled. A little salty for my taste. I can tell it's definitely been salted, but I'm not a big salt fan. It's got big, you can see big pieces of salt, but if you like salt, that won't be a problem. Overall, this food is very, very good. It's nothing exceptionally unique. I know this is a very classic steakhouse. My server told me they rarely change the menu. Like, it'll go years and years because it's just a simple steakhouse. So if that's what you're looking for, I do think this will fit the bill. Also, when we do these throwdowns, it would be impossible for me to eat every steak at Walt Disney World, so we just pick a variety of them that are at different price points and different experiences and things that we'd like to showcase. So there are some other incredible steak locations in Walt Disney World. My personal favorite steak on property is at Jico, which is at Animal Kingdom Lodge, which still hasn't reopened yet. Of course, there's STK Steakhouse at Disney Springs, which I've reviewed in other videos. There's less expensive steak at places like Rainforest Cafe and T-Rex, which I reviewed in other videos. Of course, there are plenty of steaks, but we are just assembling a few that we think would be fun to compare and help you decide if you're going to do a fancy steak dinner, which of these places is the best. Just finished up my meal at Shulas Steakhouse. Now, a couple things to keep in mind. One, again, this is located at the Dalton, so parking's not included. You'll want to make sure to get that validated with them at the front desk. In addition to that, they don't take any Disney form of payment, so no Magic Bands, no Disney gift cards. You're going to need another form of payment. There's also no discounts as far as Disney stuff goes, so no DVC or annual pass holder or anything like that you might get at a Disney Steakhouse. I thought Shula's was very good. The service was excellent. I had great service everywhere, but this was the standout server that I had. He was absolutely flawless. Very, very helpful. Great recommendations on the menu. So you're definitely getting the world-class service that you would expect at the prices of somewhere like Shula's. Personally, when I'm going to go spend the money that it would cost to eat at somewhere like Shula's or a signature restaurant, if I'm at Walt Disney World, I want it to be at a Walt Disney World place. Not saying anything bad about the Dolphin, not saying anything bad about Shula's, but for me, if I'm going to spend the high-end cost of a signature meal, I want it to be a special meal I'm not going to be able to get anywhere else. Something like Cellier, something like Chico, something a little bit more unique, maybe something of a California grill at a location and a meal that feels just special, like you're not going to get it anywhere else. Even though it's expensive, even though it's a more elevated adult feel, I still wanted to have a little bit of that like uniqueness and Disney magic. That's my only real complaint about this, as well as Yachtsman, is it doesn't feel like it's anything special to being at Disney. It feels like a very high-end steakhouse. You're going to get a high-quality meal, but you could probably get this somewhere else. All right, friends, we have eaten steak at 4 different restaurants around Walt Disney World, and it is time to give the final results. Now, I will say this is probably the hardest one I've had to do. All of the food was excellent. All of the service was excellent. I ate at some really, really high-quality restaurants, so take this with a grain of salt. All of them are excellent, and I don't think you're going to be disappointed anywhere. In 4th place, we have the Yasmin Steakhouse. I really enjoyed the food. My steak was a little undercooked compared to how I like it, but the sides were great, as well as that butter with the roasted garlic. In 3rd place, we're going to go with Shulas Steakhouse. Again, another very simple, classic steakhouse, but the food was excellent and the service was my favorite of all. In 2nd place, we have Steakhouse 71, the newcomer of the bunch, the least expensive of the bunch, but I think Steakhouse 71 is a sleeper hit. It's an excellent restaurant. I love that it's walking distance from the Magic Kingdom, and most importantly, that steak was half the cost of all these other ones for the most part, and it was amazing. It was a great steak, and I loved that mac and cheese, which leaves in 1st place, in my opinion, Celier. I think that steak is just something special. It was easily the best steak I had. I loved the accompaniments, and for me, Cellier is definitely a fancy special steak, but it's still a little bit more magical. It still gives you that fun Disney special vibe when you're at Epcot. Again, I don't think you're going to go wrong at any of these steak places, so let me know your favorite steakhouse down in the comments. Let us know what other food throwdowns you want. In the meantime, friends, make sure to rate, review, subscribe to us on social media, follow us at AllEars.net, and until next time, I'm Molly. Thanks for watching. Want to see more of my videos? Click over here. Want to subscribe? You can do that right here. And also, ring that notification bell to make sure you get instantly notified anytime we post a new video. Thanks for following. See you real soon.